Hey everyone, for our workout today, we're going to be doing a little bit of mobility, and we're going to be using our couch to help us out for these two different movements. So we're going to spend about 1 to 2 minutes in each movement. Follow along with me today, as we're going to spend a minute in each position, or you can do this on your own a little later and just add some more time to it. But what we're going to do to start is an elevated pigeon position. So what I want you to do is you're going to lay your ankle and your knee on your couch. Get your hands there to support you. And you can start with that leg back totally straight. And we're going to hold for just about a minute here. I'm going to get my timer going. And what I want you to do is really focus on moving around, finding some tight areas, kind of turning your body one way, holding it, and then making sure that we're breathing the whole time. We're not holding our breath during this. Kind of looking the other way, breathing through it. And then as you move side to side a little bit, I'm going a little bit deeper into that stretch. So you can even put your hand just above your knee, your other hand on your foot, kind of work your way down, and then you can kind of come back up, work your way down, remembering we're breathing throughout. So long, controlled breaths. Again, you can go one way, looking over one shoulder, dropping down and back up a few times. And looking back over the other shoulder, down and up a few times. And when we elevate like this versus the regular pigeon on the floor, it's a little nicer on the knee, but we're still hitting that glute area that we're trying to open up here. So we've spent about a minute on your first leg. And what you do now is we're going to switch legs and do the exact same thing. So get your hand on your foot, on your knee, kind of turn around, find some areas that feel tight. And you might notice one side might be a little tighter than the other, and that's totally fine. You can kind of work a little more on a certain area. So if you're looking over one shoulder and it feels super, super tight, just hang out there, breathe a few times, maybe drop into it, straighten the leg back out. Just work around and find what feels tight on your hips here. You're doing great. Remember, we're breathing, and it's just 1 minute per side. If you want to do this another time, feel free to add a little more time to it. You can bring your elbows down into that hip, get a little bit deeper. Let's take a few deep breaths. And then we're going to switch to our next movement, which is going to be a couch stretch. And I'm going to show you a couple variations for this. So the first one is going to be with that leg backing up, and I want you to shove it down in the corner. And your other leg is you're going to keep that knee on the ground. Now, if you need to put a pillow under your knees, that's totally fine. And what I want you to do from here is you're going to squeeze this glute. So my left leg's up, I'm going to squeeze that left glute. I'm going to try and push that hip forward. And I should feel a stretch in my quads on my left side here. Now, if you're not feeling much of a stretch here, what we can do is then bring one leg up in front of us. I still want you to make sure you can squeeze that glute each time. If you feel like you aren't able to squeeze the glute, kind of come off the stretch a little bit. Don't go as deep into it. From here, we're just holding for about a minute or so. You're doing great. Breathe into it. You can, again, turn a little bit one way, turn the other way. And think about being active. So we're not just sitting there. We're moving back and forth, squeezing that glute for a little bit, relaxing. If you don't have a couch where your foot can go up on it, you can also do this up against a wall. It's perfectly fine. Again, feel free to put a pad under your knee if you want. And then if you feel like you have the flexibility, you can come up higher. What we don't want to see is you arching your low back at all. So we want to maintain a neutral spine. So for me, right here is about as high as I feel comfortable going while being able to still squeeze my glute back here. And so we're about a minute in. We're going to switch our legs up. We're going to do the exact same thing on the other leg. So kick that knee back. Other knee comes out in front. And again, try and find that tight spot. Push that hip forward. Feel it stretch in the quad here and your hip flexors. Breathe through it. You might find, again, one side is tighter than the other. So for me, my right side feels a little tighter, so I might hang out down here for a little longer. And then moving back and forth. If I have I'm feeling a little more open, I'll bring this leg up. Keep trying to be able to squeeze your glute here. So squeeze glute, hold, breathe through it, and you can relax, go a little deeper into that stretch. So spending just a minute, about a minute on each side here. Doing great. And then relax. So we spent about 4 to 5 minutes of work there on our hips and our hip flexors. Feel free to take this a little bit longer or follow along just to open up the front of our hips and the sides of our hips. But let us know how this goes. Have a great weekend, and we'll see you on Monday.